someone commented on how was it that I've been able to reframe difficult circumstances or negative circumstances in my life. And this is a really great question because being fearful of change and fearful of negative circumstances keeps you stuck energetically, if you think about it. I think energy is constantly saying yes, 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 yes. And it's constantly flowing, it's in everything that we see. And in order to prosper and grow, we need to go with that yes, and we need to flow with that yes. And to say no to it is sort of blocking and causing some resistance. So to reframe difficult circumstances and uncertainty into a positive light is really about just a letting go and just going with the flow, no pun intended, and just to sort of allow everything to be. And through that allowance, you are able to receive and learn more than you could ever learn if you keep everything in an iron-tight grip. So I think the first way, really, how I started to reframe things was that, like I said in a previous video, last year I was in a lot of emotional pain. And the pain I realized was caused by my inability to sort of let go. I specifically wanted a certain outcome of the situation that I was in. And it soon became quite apparent that that outcome wasn't going to happen. And by having this desire for this outcome, I was keeping myself in so much pain because I was not allowing and accepting what was. I was being a huge boulder in the flow of the river that is energy and life. And I was being this huge boulder, and it was causing all of this friction and resistance, and it was keeping me stuck in the same place. I wasn't able to grow, I wasn't able to move or be able to just flow with how life was going. I was so stuck. And it was painful. It was so unbelievably painful. And when I had this realization that this outcome, the rock that I had been, was not going to happen, it was like this huge tsunami had hit the rock, and I was just being eroded and battered by these horrible waves, and the pain was so massive that I realized that I had to let go. I had to let go of what I thought I knew was best for myself, because clearly it wasn't working out for me. I thought I knew that I would be happy if I had this situation look a certain way. And instead I was miserable. I was so miserable and so caught up in experience and so caught up in thinking that the world needed to prove to me that I was lovable and loving and deserving of wonderful things, instead of seeking all of that within myself. So I guess that's is that the first thing, or the second thing now, is to realize that by not allowing what is, not accepting what is, you're being the big boulder in the flow of energy. And then the other thing I realized was that I have no idea what is for my highest and best. I have no idea what it is I'm meant to do. But I'm willing to know. I was so willing to know. I was so fed up with leading the flow show of this is how Flo should live her life, and these are all the things that Flo should do. I was so fed up with being like that. I was desperate to just let it all go and let the universe, let God, let whoever it is that's part of this oneness show me what to do. And it was through a lot of reading, a lot of meditation, a lot of practices such as Byron Katie's The Work, letters, Colin Tipping's radical forgiveness letters, meditation, journaling, that I was able to start shifting these beliefs I'd created about Flo and what Flo should be doing with her life. And I started allowing myself to receive guidance. And it was through A Course in Miracles, and I also started reading The Law of One by Ra. And they said basically that our whole purpose here is to serve others, to be of service to others. And I guess this is why I'm now here on this platform, because I guess I realized I'd reached a moment in my life where I could talk to people and I could explain things. I have found in the past few months, since really understanding my true nature and living from that place, that I have attracted more people who wish to know this understanding and who wish to learn these things. And I've spent a good few months now talking to friends and families about these teachings and these understandings, because I recognize now in lots of people all the pain that I used to feel in myself. I can now see that pain in others. I can see why they're behaving a certain way, why they do things a certain way, because they're just replaying these old belief systems which are just cyclical in nature, and they just keep going round and round until, you know, we're brave enough to look at them and heal them and let them go, let them be. No longer believe that when you think the thought, oh, I don't have a partner, therefore I'm a failure. To be able to just sit with that and allow that thought to be, so that when the thought arises again, oh, I don't have a partner, you're no longer feeling the emotion of failure. You're no longer thinking you're a failure because you don't have a partner. You've come to recognize that that is just a false narrative. It's just a false belief. That actually, oh, I don't have a partner right now because that's what's for my highest and best right now. Doesn't mean I won't get one in the future. Or at the same time, I'm completely okay in my own beingness, in my own company, to know that I never need a partner for anything, because I am the only partner that I have ever sought for. And again, that's not to say that you shouldn't have these things, of course, but again, it's about coming from love rather than reaching towards love. To love yourself so deeply and so irrevocably that you just want to share that with the world and just celebrate in that wonderfulness of your wholeness and your oneness, because you are the light of the world, and your job is to bring light to other people and to do that all from love. So really, by reframing these negative experiences to knowing that you don't know what's for your highest and best, that you are blocking wonderful new opportunities or blocking wonderful realizations by clinging on to desperately to what you think is good for you, that you are keeping yourself stuck, you're keeping yourself trapped in the world. And another huge part of reframing negative circumstances for myself came through understanding that this world was offering me nothing. All it was offering me, specifically a year ago, was pain and upset, and nothing seemed to be going right, and I felt like I was on this hamster wheel where I'd been doing all the right things, and I'd gotten my degree, and I'd had this partner, and I was well educated, and I was working towards my dreams and my goals, and I was running on this hamster wheel, and then I realized that I was going nowhere. I was just, tidying the hedges of my life, washing the windows of my life, but I wanted to keep myself in the house. I didn't want to lose the house, so I'll just keep it all prim and proper. But there's damp coming through the ceilings, and the floorboards are starting to go wonky, and the plumbing is not working properly, and I've got no electricity. Oh, but I've got my house. And I realized that the house was offering me nothing. I was looking at the damp and it was getting bigger. I was looking at the floorboards and they were getting worse. I was looking at the plumbing and it was getting rotten and leaky. And I realised, how can I be looking at all of this and thinking this is what's making me happy? Because it's clearly not. I'm just putting plasters over broken arms. So another part of it is to really recognize that this world is an illusion, and it's not real. And your body identity of whoever you are, so me as Flo, that's not the truth of who I am. I'm the awareness of that. I am the presence in all experience. Once you start reframing difficult circumstances to moments of liberation, then that's really when your awareness and all the universal energy that you are and that is supporting you can really get into life, because you've removed the boulder now. You're saying yes to everything. You're letting life flow through you. And it's really brilliant. And it's not about then creating success from saying that yes. It's just about knowing that you are wonderful and you are loved and you are love. That's who you are. And that you don't need anything else to prove that to yourself. Can you just imagine how freeing that is to know that you don't need anyone to say, do, be anything to you? You're so certain of yourself, of who you are, of how you move in the world, of your beingness, that you don't feel threatened by anything. It's just so freeing. I can see why people call this liberation, because when you don't need anyone, you don't need anything, not only can you really appreciate everything you have, but you are free to do whatever you want. You've removed the boulder of your life and the river is flowing.